Well, me and Pastor Dowell had to do a video. I did a video response the other day because of a story he did about a girl in a school, a public school, being basically sexually assaulted by some boys in the school, not only in the school, but in the damn classroom with the teacher in the room and other people in the room, which is, it would be unbelievable for anyone to even believe that. If it wasn't true and they didn't actually catch him and do something, people would say that's not even possible. You can't do that in the middle of a class. That's impossible. Yet it happened. And it kind of bothered me, but I said, you know what? I know what Pastor Dowell looks at is real. So I went and checked. He provided where he got the information from. I looked at it. Sure enough, just to double verify for myself because it's so absurd, I had to go check. And it was right. So I thought to myself, it was Pastor Dowell that had been talking about homeschooling and how he homeschooled his children and the people there homeschool their children on his community, and that it's just the way they do it, and gave all these lists of reasons. I don't even know if you mentioned because of this, but this is a huge reason in and of itself. But all the other reasoning that you've given, my wife and I would sit there and listen and say, man, he's kind of right about that, and they started thinking, well, no, he ain't kind, he's not kind of right. He's right, period. And then just like the other day, I think you said, you set your kids at school 6, 7, 8 hours. You wake up, you set them off, then you go to work, then you pick them up. And I think, was it you the other day was talking about how the kid comes home and says, well, my teacher said this, my teacher said that. Okay, that's exactly right. Well, my teacher said this. Now you're becoming the teacher's the priority or the head, and now you're under the teacher. So it's like, well, my teacher said this, my teacher said that. So I'm going to read you something right now. It's a little bit of a read. But this is again, you're not going to believe this. No, people probably watch this video, and that's not true. There's no way they was doing this. As much as I said that to myself when you did your video, and then came to my obvious, my senses for a second, and said, this guy ain't going to lie, obviously. I know what he says is true. The man doesn't lie at all. I know he researches his story before he even opens his mouth. Of course it's legitimate. So I went ahead and read the whole thing, saw the whole thing. Yeah, unbelievable. So here we go. And by the way, my little disclaimer for if you got any young kids in the room right now, children, even teenagers, there's nothing bad words. They're using. I'm gonna use a proper terminology, that just like the article did, but you still don't want them hearing this. So if you got any kids or teenagers, even get them out of the room because this is just disturbing as hell. So, Charlotte, North Carolina. An elementary school now this was posted Wednesday, January 16, 2013. Charlotte, North Carolina. An elementary school teacher sexually abused students for years, made them watch pornography and bestiality on school computers, and made them drink his semen, which he called, quote, pirate juice, 2 families claim in court. In separate federal complaints, the students and their guardians ad litem claimed the teacher, Michael Andrew Alexander, and by the way, notice how that doesn't sound like a terrorist name. That's a standard American name, right? We got our own terrorists inside our own country, basically. So we just go ahead. This teacher named Michael Andrew Alexander threatened to kill students and their families if they told anyone about the abuse. The students, which they don't want to tell their full name, so they're giving the initials, NC and LB, sued Alexander and the Burke County Public School Board of Education. Former elementary school principal is also named as a defendant in NC's complaint, and guidance counselor Linda Bradshaw is named as a defendant in LB's complaint. Alexander, the teacher, is serving a 49.5-year sentence in state prison. Now, number one, why isn't he serving a death penalty? First and foremost, beyond me. But they gave him 49.5 years, and you know what? With good behavior, he'll be out in 20. He'll be out in 20. So it says he's serving 49.5 years. Sheriff's officers arrested him on June 2012 based on FBI reports that linked him to a child pornography ring in Europe, according to the federal complaints. Throughout his 12 years as a BCPS teacher, defendant Alexander was allowed to excuse young girls from other classes and school activities and keep them with him long enough to engage in sex with them and, among other atrocities, create and distribute child, basically porn images on the internet of him with the kids in the school. The child named LB was made to drink concoctions, again, containing his semen, which he nicknamed pirate juice. Upon information and belief, defendant Alexander used school computers to upload, download, copy, and distribute sexually deviant images of the children to a worldwide audience of sexual degenerates and child pornography enterprises. And by the way, hold on, real quick.
Your screen is done.
Oh, it's messed up? All right, I'll just leave it. It does that for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Okay.
Yeah, it just screws up. But yeah, I see my little air conditioning thing going out. But so, it was. I did a video on this a little while back, somewhere in Europe. Whether I may have been Greece or somewhere. Yeah, it was Greece. Greece, the country that is failing beyond miserably. They passed a law. These crooked politicians passed a law stating that in order to get on the not unemployment, the disability, and get a paycheck for disability, they included another topic of a person that can now automatically get on that system and get paid. Basically a sexual predator. A sexual predator is now considered a disabled person and can collect disability over in Greece. So just want to throw that out there to let everyone know where our world is heading in a hurry. So back to this. It says the European police agency Europol intercepted a child pornography syndicate operating in Spain and discovered child abuse photos and images. So that's how they actually broke the case. The children were filmed inside the school in the classrooms, causing Europol agents to immediately contact the U.S. Embassy and the FBI. State and federal agents moved swiftly to arrest a third-grade teacher at BCPS's Hildebrand Elementary School. Defendant Michael Andrew Alexander. Defendant Alexander has since been sentenced to almost 1/2 century of incarceration for horrific misconduct. Of course, he'll get out in 20 years, like I said. Throughout his 12 years, again, it kind of mentions the same thing. NC was a student in Defendant Alexander's class when Defendant Alexander isolated NC from the rest of the students and forced him to view, alone with Defendant Alexander, and on school computers, images of women and animals engaged in explicit sex acts. NC was so disturbed by the images, again, third grader, obviously, so disturbed by the images, Defendant Alexander showed him that when he went home from school crying and told his father, MC, the father's nickname, that Defendant Alexander had shown him the images. So the father complained to the principal, Wendy Barber, who told him, quote, you're going to love this, you're going to love this, the principal, quote, there's nothing that could be done about it, and otherwise ignored the incident, choosing to keep NC in Defendant Alexander's class for the remainder of the school year. Keep the kid in the class after he just told his father, this is what my teacher's doing and showing me. The father complains to the principal, and the principal says, all right, whatever. Leaves the kid in the class the remainder of the year. Now, number one, if I'm the father, I don't think I'm going to be going to the principal. I mean, sure, I'd probably follow that line, but you got to understand, people, there's not a chance in the world that the child at a third grade level, and the age he would have been to be in third grade, could have even imagined or seen something on TV of which he described to his father. So if your school child, whatever, grade school aged kid, comes to you and tells you, mommy, daddy, whatever, my teacher showed me this and did this, you're going to want to go murder the school teacher for one. So why, but okay, he doesn't want to get arrested, so he went and told the highest level of authority in the whole school system of that school, the principal. And she decided, thanks, but no thanks, I'm going to ignore it. So it says, Barber, the principal's deliberate indifference included not reporting Alexander, the teacher, to police, in addition to letting him stay in the classroom for the rest of 2008 and 2009 school year, according to the complaint. Denied help, the child, nicknamed NC, remained in Defendant Alexander's classroom where he had to relive and be reminded of the disturbing things he had seen, and in constant fear of Defendant Alexander and when he might be compelled to view or participate in such a thing again. NC, now a middle school student, claims Alexander abused many other students. NC is not the only BCPS student abused by defendant Alexander during school hours and on school grounds, the complaint states. Upon information and belief, defendant Alexander's heinous misconduct with BCPS students dates back to at least 2001 and includes as many as 50 victims. Upon information and belief, that misconduct includes, among other things, forcing vile sex acts on children as young as 7, which he may have filmed and distributed to the internet, forcing young girls to engage in sex acts with each other, downloading, uploading, and distributing films and pornographic images via the internet of girls as young as 4 being raped by men, forcing young girls to drink his semen in treats and concoctions called truth serum or pirate juice, ejaculating into boots and filming girls walking around in them as he told them they had semen legs. And finally, instructing young girls to wear dresses and high-heeled boots to school so he could make suggestive and sexually deviant movies and pornographic photos of them, which he distributed via the internet to sexual deviants around the world. And G, finally, threatening the young victims that if they told their families, he would go to their house and kill them and their families. So it says another person, LB, was 8 years old when he began sexually abusing and filming her in school, complains that he made several complaints, that the child, LB, made several complaints to the school's guidance counselor, which is the other defendant, Linda Bradshaw, that she was being teased and bullied by other girls in class for being singled out as defendant Alexander's favorite. At around the same time that this child went to the defendant Bradshaw, the guidance counselor, with her complaints of being bullied, another of defendant Alexander's victim, LB's classmate, complained to defendant, the same lady, the guidance counselor, that she was being inappropriately touched by defendant Alexander. And yet nothing is done. Nothing has been done. How are you a trained professional, guidance counselor? Oh, had to go to college, the degree, the everything in the world to get that position. You are the top person as far as, taking kids in and listening to their problems, helping them with problems at home, helping them with problems at school. Again, if anyone's when I went to school, that would be the first person you would go to or talk to if you were abused, mistouched, spanked on the butt by a teacher, like, even a little good job, anything, you go see the guidance counselor. And this guidance counselor, along with the principal, did what? I mean, for God's sakes, are they, maybe they're hooked up on the same network and they're all watching it. Maybe that's what's happening. Have you ever in your life heard anything like this?
Brother, I have never in my life have heard anything so sickening as I just got finished hearing from you. You are right. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. This is showing us for a fact what I always preach and teach and talk about, more than anything, how that we are in a serious decline in this society. This is sick beyond all measure right here. This is the reason why I advocate that mothers are the first line teachers to these little children right here, because this is ultimately what you're going to end up facing. And this is an isolated incident that is actually caught.
Yes.
And reported.
Yes.
That's no telling how much is going on, especially with the advent of MTV and all the perversion that is going on the internet, and no telling what these school teachers' backgrounds are when they leave school. And I take, these children are scarred for life.
Forever.
They're scarred for life, and no telling what they're going to turn out to be when they get out in the public, in the public, when they become adults. The death penalty is not good enough for that man right there. Nope. He needs to be tarred and feathered. His limbs need to be tore off and sent to the four corners of this country right here as a sign and a reminder to all these other perverts and all these other people who refuse to actually, I'm a loss for words, because I can't help but to believe if the principal and some of these other people is not in on some of this stuff. This is just like the scandal that was going on with Notre Dame, and that was with college people.
Exactly.
This is elementary school children. And then the parents, you see, civility, I'd have threw that mess all. I'd have lost my mind, bro, Joe. I'd have lost my mind.
How do you go to the teacher, and the guidance counselor, and the principal? How do you go to the two top authorities of the school and them just basically brush that off?
Hey, they learned it from the system. Look what happens. The people try to go and complain to the system, whether it be the authorities, whether it be the government, no matter where you at, they try to go and complain, and look what happens. Nothing happens. You go to the job. You complain about being harassed at the job. Look what happens. Nothing happens. They brush it under until somebody gets killed or something like that happens, catastrophic, and then everybody wants to pay attention. I advocate that parents see, the decline happened when we took the mother out of the home. Yes. I believe that being a mother is the most honorable job that a woman could have, the best calling that a woman could have in all of her life, because she is ultimately responsible for the rearing of those children so that the next successive generation will not have to deal with all this perversion. And this is a lesson learned right here. This is a lesson learned. I'm concerned, Joe. I'm concerned about, I got so much going on in my head, man. I can't even make sense of my thoughts right now.
I know.
But this is a sign. This is a sure sign of why, hey, I'm almost on the prophet level, brother, considering telling everybody to homeschool their children, because
that's right.
I'm almost to the point now that parents can't tell me that they care about their children when they send them off in a hostile environment like this. You don't know if that school teacher's a witch. You don't know if they're practicing what they call a alternative lifestyle. You don't know if they're perverts. You don't know if they're sexual predators that's never been caught by the system. You don't know what's going on. Then by the time your children get home, they're so full of fear that they refuse to talk about anything. You almost got to literally pry it out of them just to get it out. And then when you turn around and take it to the authorities, nothing is done. That is enough to make the parents take the laws into their own hands.
Well, like I said, thank you for doing the videos that you've done back when I first barely met you, early 2011. First found this guy. Pastor Dowell, I say it a million times, one of the websites I was visiting, you wish your preacher was like, or you wish your pastor was like this guy. I'm thinking, oh, what is this nonsense? Yeah, whatever. Was he yelling about preaching or something louder than the last guy? I'm thinking, first video I press play, he's got an AR-15 in his hand, sitting in that same chair he's sitting in right now with the AR-15, talking about gun rights and how important it is and how these other pastors don't teach it and this and that. And I said, man, he's right. Damn, okay, yeah. And I know why they titled that this little post on this website. Man, I like this guy. I didn't subscribe yet. I just listened. And doing my thing, something else came up. Boom. There's that guy again. What's his name? Oh, Pastor Dowell, huh? I'm going to subscribe now. I'm kind of liking with that. I hadn't heard any real preaching that you would expect from anybody named Pastor anything. Pastor Dowell, Pastor whoever. You expect to turn on a channel and get preached to like you're in church or something. That's just what my mind was at, then. And I'm sure everyone else's probably is. So I said, man, this guy ain't doing no preaching. This guy's talking serious. And so, okay, great. He's on my level with what he's talking about. I'm talking about the same stuff. So I subscribe. Next thing I know, I do a video response. He takes it, accepts it. He does a video response. Man, I go up and visit the man. And my wife and I are sitting there looking at each other. These people, you ever seen anything like this? No. I can't believe this. I can't believe they live. You seen those little kids? How sweet and generous and how peaceful, God, I feel embarrassed to bring our kids here. Our kids were probably 4 years old at the time. I feel embarrassed to bring our kids here. And our kids ain't bad, but compared to Pastor Dowell's children, those children living on that property, my kids are devils, and they're good kids, but you know what I mean? So I said, man, this is it. We got to be friends with this guy. We got to keep this relationship going. So long story short, we've been friends for a while. I've visited him about 3 or 4 times. And it's just been a fantastic relationship. But after that, we really started listening to what he had to say. We looked at some of his older videos. She would send me stuff. Look at this video he did. I was, all right. You start talking about the homeschooling, and get them out of the damn schools. Those schools, never talking about this kind of thing. I mean, I don't think you probably would have thought about this even happening. To this level, nobody would have. And here it is today. So I'm glad and thankful for you saying that and getting that in my wife's mind, that it is better for her to homeschool the kids than to keep them in any public school. Number one, as you can see, whether it's a false flag, whether it's real, whether it's people in psychotic drugs, whatever the reason these people are shooting up the schools, you can take the reason, and it doesn't even matter, to be honest. It doesn't matter why they're doing what they're doing it. Do you want your kids at that school when your kid could be the next one? No. Do you want your kid to find this guy in his pirate juice all over your kid's boots and wherever else he's putting it, for God's sakes? Your kid don't even know what it is. They don't even know. I mean, you're just throwing them in a shark pool, a pool full of sharks, and they never even seen a shark, don't even know what a shark is. And in their mind, they're probably thinking, oh, what did the cartoon show me? A shark's friendly, and I'm going to go give it a hug. It's friendly, that kind of thing. Not realize it's a damn wild animal that's about to eat you alive. And some of these teachers and people in these positions, they are also sharks ready to eat your kid alive. That's not their kid. Your kid is not their kid. They will never, can never, ever care about your kid as much as you do.
That's right.
Can't. No one on earth can. Now, sure, there's a bunch of lowlifes out there that deserve not to have their kids, and a foster parent maybe take them up, and hopefully, hopefully a decent, legitimate foster parent that cares, take them up and, teach them the right way and love them more than their parent. But again, their parent might be a scumbag of some sort, like this guy. So this article, this whole thing I just read, this is not a story. This is not fake. This is real. I verified it. This happened, and it was posted today, and it had been going back since 2001. And here it is posted. So this has pretty much convinced me. My wife was just looking at today when I got home from work. As soon as I got home, she was in here on the computer. At the Tennessee, I don't know the exact website, because everyone listening, my wife and I are moving to Tennessee in exactly 2 weeks. I can't be happy enough to be only 3 hours away from this guy right now, which is going to be fantastic, because I'm fixing to come over there all the time. And you won't be seeing the side-by-side video like this. It'll be in his house next to him. We'll be doing some videos. But and I kind of lost where I was going with that, but when I got home, my wife was already on the Tennessee website for foster care. My wife and I did foster care before we had our kids, any of them, because she couldn't get pregnant. We tried everything, went to the doctors, did all the little shots and whatever you name it, can't get pregnant. So, as I mentioned a while back, my friend showed me a way to make a ton of money on the internet back in 2005. It only worked for about a year. It doesn't work anymore, or I probably would share it with everybody just because I'm a nice guy. But it's long gone. So, long story short, I made a lot of money in 1 year. We used it to do in vitro, which is a very expensive procedure to get pregnant, and it worked. They put 2 eggs back, and they both took. We have twins now. We did not know my wife would get pregnant a third time naturally, and little Ashley came out. So we realized, okay, good, whatever. We've got 3. We're happy now. We don't want any more kids. We're good. But before we did that, we foster cared, and we kind of learned pretty quickly. As much as the little course you have to take to learn how to be a foster parent and just basic stuff, they kind of prepare you for the kids and the problems they may have, etc. They go from house to house to house, and they're going to have behavioral issues. Some of them may have been sexually assaulted or this and that. So we told, because we just had our babies at the time too, the twins, we were like, well, we're still licensed to the foster care, and we got these 2 little boys who were like 7 and 8 or 6 and 7. Our kids were like 3 at the time, and we thought, well, if we're taking kids, and we talked to the lady in charge, we don't want if we're going to take these kids, and we don't want to make sure they were sexually assaulted, because I don't want them messing with my kids because of what happened to them in the middle of the night. And we ended up putting an alarm thing on the door that if the door cracked open, it would make a loud noise. Because our kids were 3, they were, matter of fact, it was probably 2 years old, as a matter of fact. And they might have even still been in cribs. I don't remember. But just to be safe, if I heard that alarm, I want to get up and see who's opening the door. But they said, no, the mom's basically a piece of garbage, on drugs, stealing, in prison all the time. Okay, well, we can handle these kids. And when you take these kids in, it's like you might think or might wonder or think you might know how it went, like how their life may have been, even though they're these young kids, and, oh, well, maybe this or maybe that. But the longer you stay with them, the more they're willing to talk to you. Believe me, they're willing to really tell you pretty much everything. And you realize these kids have a terrible, terrible life. It's almost like, I mean, think about, we talk about sending our kids to school and being gone from 8 hours a day, and then come back, and then they're back home with mom and dad. As far as that's concerned, that's wrong, because we need to have like you said, the mother needs to be raising the kids in the house. But compared to the foster system, that's glorious. The school
Right.
system and leaving your kids for 8 hours is glorious compared to the foster care system, where they're going house to house, and then if the houses are all taken up and there's not enough foster parents, they put them in like a facility where they're, all intents and purposes are somewhat of a prison, block rooms, you name it, like a school or prison.
Mm-hmm.
And they have these big dorm rooms where they all sleep, and these are children. So, and then there'll be one or two teachers or guardians that have to look over all this, not because they want to, but because they have no choice, because there's not enough people willing to do foster care. And even with that, they do pay you to be a parent, foster parent, so to help you with the costs and the feeding and everything, which is great. But, naturally that money is pretty much going to be gone to the kid, which is fine. But even with that incentive or whatever, for some people, look at it as an incentive to go get 5 or 6 kids, and we've seen it. I'm going to get 6 or 7 kids. When we drop one of the kids off to the next house, because when she finally had the babies, we had to stop because we didn't have no more room in the house anyways. So we said, okay, we're going to have to, you guys have to go back, into the system or whatever. And when we dropped them off at the next foster care person, it was actually this little girl we had at first before we had the 2 boys. We dropped her off. It was in the ghetto. I used to work right down the street in the ghetto, to a lady that had like 6 or 7 other foster kids for the sole purpose of not having to work and making a couple dollars cash. And what they pay down here in Florida is pennies on the dollar compared to what places like Tennessee pay. So not to say that matters one way or the other, but even the little scraping of money they give you, it's enough for people down here with that mindset, I don't want to work, I'll just take in the foster care money, which is supposed to go to the kids and their food and their clothing and their school stuff, whatever they need. So my wife said, you know what? I think we need to get back into foster care when we go back up to Tennessee. We got this little, this manufactured home. It's got that 4th bedroom that I was telling you we need to finish in. But with our family right now, we live in a 3-bedroom, and all the girls sleep in the one room. The sisters don't want to be separated, so all 3 of them, including little Ashley, they all sleep together every night. So that leaves an additional room for the schoolroom, and then my wife's room. So if we had a 4th bedroom, we could do foster care. And what I told her is, let's find another sibling group, brother, sister, 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 brother, brother, something, so that they can sleep together in the same room and it's okay, and then get a couple beds for them or whatever. And I'm serious, especially after seeing this today. This is just killing me. That I feel like I want to go save some kids somehow. So my wife and I, when we get up to Tennessee and get situated, get that room filled in and legitimate, whatever, completed, we're going to use either that for our bedroom or whatever, somewhere. Someone's going to use that for a room. And I think we're going to end up doing foster care again with our kids. And my wife can just teach them, she can teach them school, homeschool, whatever, at the house. It's crazy.
I've got the know-how, and but it's what's going on with today. It's hard getting funding for anything.
Yep.
I have the know-how. You ever heard of these people having like boys' home, girls' homes?
Yes.
Or something like that is actually funded by the government or funded by someone who is well off or has a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
That has often been in my heart and mind to pull a lot of these people out of these foster homes and that system right there and bring them up and raise them up in some type of environment like that I can actually monitor and supervise, as well as some of the people that are here at Straitway and people who follow the ministry, because I know about their morality. I know their character. And of course, it will all be biblical based. Everything will be biblical based. And of course, I see that's the best way to raise people, because at least there's morals and there's values with it. But as long as we have this broke system still functioning the way that it is now, there's not going to be too many changes that's going on, because we're looking at, and we've said it 1,000 times, every single thing that is happening in this society. It's like if you go pick up a history book of ancient Rome, you're looking at a script, a blueprint of exactly what's happening right before our very eyes. If we were following the Bible, just like I advocate that people would do you know that what God had told the Israelites what to do with that man, that would have been enough to deter all other people who even think about doing something like that. But the problem is, these laws, I'm not so sure that they're actually made by the people of this country right here, or the people who say they represent them. I think they're actually made by somebody else, personally. But getting back to
what you just said the other day about the guy, the senator in New York, who called him out before he knew they were going to pass the gun law to magazines and all that stuff to lower them. You nailed it. The guy, I watched the video that you posted. I went ahead and listened to what he had to say. And before that happened, the video, or before me watching it, I already read online that I want to say, I don't even know the number, but almost every one of the people voting, senators, whatever, that voted, had no idea what they were voting for.
There you have it.
Didn't even read it. Just like the damn health care bill and all this other crap. And then that old ass politician doing these town hall meetings, and they stay. I remember the damn video perfectly in my head. And he's sitting there, this old guy, and the lady stands up and says, you can't vote for this health care bill. Please don't vote for this. We're your constituents here. It's 1,000, 2,000 pages, and have you even read it? I mean, don't you see what's in it? Don't you know what's in it? Haven't you read it? No, I haven't read it. He responded as if, how dare you ask an absurd question to me? I know I didn't read it. It's 2,000 pages. And what he says, 2,000 pages. Like, are you crazy? And everybody in the room stood up and was screaming. And he kind of, like, backed off, like, whoa, what is this about? Like, oh my God, what did I say? Didn't even know. This is what they do. They vote. There's no, like, I got 4 or 5 videos here I've been wanting to do all day. I don't have any time right now. And it'd be like me, this whole thing, just, I'm going to look at the back of it. I'm going to look at the white part of it and just sign off on it.
Yep.
Who cares what's on the other side? All I know, it's called the Affordable Health Care Act. I'm signing it. This is absurd. And like you said a second ago, morals. You would raise these people. You do raise these people, and the people in your community have morals. So this sick bastard we just got done talking about at the school.
Yep.
Let's pretend. Let's add that in with school shootings. These people that pick up an assault rifle, a military grade. I love how the media call it a military grade weapon. Yeah, okay. They pick up a gun and shoot up the place. We're gonna ban guns. No, let's not focus on what the hell's wrong with the guy, the medications he's taking, why he's taking the medications, why he would have picked up the gun. Don't focus on that.
Very
Let's just
good
focus on the tool he grabbed, and then he'll grab a knife. We'll have to focus on that tool. And then he's going to grab a stick. Then we're going to have to focus on no more sticks. Then we're going to kill ourselves off because we'll cut down all the damn trees in the world because you can't have a stick. That's a politician's solution. So how could anyone want to keep themselves even in the system? And you know what? In all fairness, I am thankful to my boss for giving me the salary that I've been able to have for these last few years, so that my wife could stay home and we could pay the bills. And that's why I say, in all fairness, there could be 1 million people right now who somehow happen to watch our video when I upload this and say, that's it, I want to homeschool. I don't even want to take a chance. That's so disturbing. I got to homeschool. And then they go to their husband, husband, we got to homeschool. And the husband may say, you know what, you're right. Let's see what it costs. Let's see how I can pay the bills. And you know what they'll find out? Probably 8, 9 times out of 10, honey, we can't afford it. We both have to work in order to survive in this system, just like the Rockefellers wanted. Like Nick Rockefeller asked Aaron Russo. He said, "Do you know what women's lib was about?" And Aaron Russo says, "Oh yeah, it's women's rights, man, women's rights." He said, "You idiot." And Aaron says, what do you mean? What do you mean I'm an idiot? What was it about? It wasn't what it was about? No. We funded that. We Rockefellers funded that. That was our deal. That's so that we could get the kid out of the house, so we could put him in the school system, so we can train them to be basically our good little followers, get them out of the family, get them away from the mother, then we can send the mother and father out to work and tax both of them. You want to talk about the beast system? People talking about, the 666 mark of the beast. Where is it? Where is it? It's here.
It's right here. It's here.
It's on you right now.
You know what, Joe? There would not be a law that I talked about earlier that they could write down on a piece of paper that would have kept me from that school teacher if they'd have done it to my children.
Oh,
I'm telling you, brother, it'd have been game over. Game would have been over. Well, what kind of pastor are you? A real one. That's the kind I am, a real one.
And you know how that would have went down? You wouldn't have heard nothing. You would have heard Pastor Dowell coming out saying, hey, I read a story today in the news here. Holy cow, this is kind of where I live. a teacher of a local school was shot walking to his car, sniped. Damn. What is this world coming to? Anyways, let's talk about something else. That's how that would go down. That's how that would go down.
Yeah, because see, I know how to take care of somebody without letting the whole world know how, that I know what I'm doing.
People love to go out there and blab their mouth. I'm going to do this, and I'm going to... No.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes you just got to handle things yourself, but...
There you go. And where were you at? Oh, I was right here making a video. That's what I was doing.
I got proof.
Brother, I hope that people are taking heed to everything that you have said here tonight, every single thing, because all it's going to do is strengthen what we've been talking about all these few years. That's all it's going to do. I don't care what market is in. I don't care when we talked about the metals today when I was in the vehicle. I don't care if it's talking about the decline of this society with the morality is gone literally off the chain. We got a bunch of sick bastards running this country. Let's just go on and face the reality of it. They sick as hell. And this country is going to continue to keep on going the way it's going. That's the reason why. I know you saw that video with James Yeager talking about that he was going to get ready to just go and just start shooting folks. I remember, I know you saw that, right?
Yeah, and they snatched up his license, his firearms license because of what he said.
See, what's happening right now is that there are people who have a conscience left in this society. And their conscience is being pushed against. They're like, am I going insane? Am I going crazy when all this stuff is going around me? Why do I feel like all this pressure is pushing against me and my hands are tied and I can't do nothing? What's going to happen is people going to snap. Yes. I tell you what, I'll give you a short story of what happened up here in Kentucky, no more than 60 miles from me. There was two guys, because the Amish people up here and the Mennonite people, they don't believe in self-defense. They don't believe in what they call violence. So these two guys go over to, the homes are separated by great distances. Yes. So these two guys go up here to this Amish or this Mennonite home up here, all right? They break into the house and they beat up the father, beat up the mother, beat up the daughters, got three or four daughters in there and rape every single one of them. The daddy is sitting there praying on his knees. Please stop, please stop, please stop. Jesus, please help us. Jesus, please stop, please stop. What he need to do, he need to come listen to me. So anyway, they leave, all right? They're all distraught and everything. 1 month later, the same guys come back again. You know what happened and did the same thing again. You know what happened to that father? And this is what I tell people all the time. What happened to that father is the conditioning process that's getting ready to happen to a lot of Americans. Because that father, what was going on in him? Self-preservation. He knew what he wanted to do, what he should have done, but he couldn't do it because religion is so powerful and so strong that it actually suppressed what any father would have done naturally to preserve his family. He couldn't do it because his religion and his conditioning and his training from that religion prevented naturally what he should have done, and that man went insane over that whole situation.
After the second time?
After the second time, the man just lost his mind. You see, I'm not going to lose my mind in a situation like this. Somebody going to lose theirs. Because that's why I talk about self-preservation. See, we have lost the natural order of things in this country. I don't know, this is satanic, what's going on, literally, what's going on. We're literally being hijacked. If there ain't no such thing as a devil, then where in the hell is he at? Where is he at then? Because everything I see around me points to nothing but the nature of the devil that's going on right now and all the people that are under his control and under his influence. And like you said, they got all these laws. 2,000-page thing. It didn't even read the thing, but he signed off on it, made it a law, and then bound all these people about it. Now we get to the point where the people getting sick and tired of being sick and tired, and there's a grassroots of people that ain't going to be standing for this and taking this mess any longer.
Well, I've been listening to sheriff after sheriff after sheriff after sheriff writing letters or going into the media or having their own town hall meeting with the citizens and saying, we will not be enforcing any federal gun grab. Mm-hmm. You have nothing to worry about. And one sheriff went so far as to say what I've heard you say multiple times, and I know is also fact. And he said, you may not know this, but the sheriff is the supreme law of the land he has been sworn in to as sheriff.
That's right.
And he said, I can tell the federal agents of any, so I can tell the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, I can tell anybody to get out of my county.
Yep.
And they have to obey.
Yep.
Now it's funny because you don't hear about that. The federal government, boy, they don't ever let you know that that's the law. They don't want to let you know that the sheriff can throw them off the land. Of course, they want to make it look like they've got all the power. Just like with this gun, this is so amazing. And I think about what Lindsey Williams had said like 3 years ago now. It's been 3 years now. And he said then, in about 2 years, you will not even recognize America.
Joe, when I said and made that statement, I had a couple of people send me emails. Of course, they were less than favorable.
Sure.
Who do you think you are? But then to come out a few years later and hear a sheriff who knows his position to get up here and say this same thing, vilified again, not some crazy psychotic pastor like a lot of, people mistake my passion for anger. I don't know why, but I'm just very passionate about, I really truly have a sincere heart for people. I really truly do. And I really truly care about people. I really truly do. But when I see people who don't have the mental capacity, or either they have been deceived and taken advantage of about people who know exactly what they're doing, that gets me, brother. That gets me. That's the reason why I preach so hard against this false religious system that we all face with in this country right here. I come down hard like a 2-ton heavy stick.
Well, let me say this too. To anybody out there that says, well, pastor's just another religion. Pastor Dowell it's just another religion he follows, just like the rest of them. He's got his own thing, and I've heard that from time to time. All the time I hear it every now and then. And I say, yeah, he's another religion, but I said, and I might as well say the same thing now because this applies to what we've all been talking about this whole time. Let's pretend God doesn't exist. Religions don't exist. All these different versions and flavors of religion, there's no such thing. But there is a thing called the Bible, and it's just this book of wisdom. Nothing more. It was written by some guy in his dreams, right? He made it up. Mm-hmm. If people would live the way you live, and you live based off of that book.
Off the book.
You and I would not be having this conversation right now. There would not be school shootings. There would not be these crooked politicians. There would not be this moralist society. We would not be in a country going down the tubes in a hurry. We would be a phenomenal, unbelievable society right now.
That's true.
So if there is no such thing of those things, God's fake, religion's fake, everything's fake, how is it that if you live your life by that book, as you do, how can you live so perfectly if all that stuff's fake and your religion is just like another religion? It's not possible. So what I'm saying is, some of these people will email me on YouTube or whatever. Oh, what religion is he? What is this? He's an Israelite. What's an Israelite? I try to explain it the best I can and say, If you want to ask Pastor Dowell. But what I usually tell people is the Israelites that are out of the Bible, the original God's people, that's who he wants to be like nowadays. He considers himself one of them nowadays, and that's how they want to live their life. So, what does that mean? So, he's like an Israel supporter?
See, the system is so jacked up, brother. They have got so much control over the people's mind that they can't even function right. Now, it would be something, Brother Joe. It would be something that all these people have these opinions, because I tell people we are the faith. We are in the faith. But it would be something if you didn't come here personally yourself, stay here on the land with us, visit the home, break bread with us. If you would have saw anything out of the way, or there's no way that is the length of time y'all stayed here and the few times you've been here, and you stayed with me a few days, that we could sit here and pretend this thing.
Yeah, the whole community just put on a show for Jsnip4, some stranger at the time, with bringing his kids over there on the way to New Jersey on our destination point for a vacation to see her family, my wife's family. Yeah, it took me all of about 2 hours of all that time we spent there to figure out, and it was the first 2 hours, that what the hell's going on here? Where am I at? This is like this is Disneyland. We're over in Disneyland right now, the real Disneyland, where you see, I mean, the hospitality, the friendliness, the giving, the caring. You guys could have had your mouths taped shut, and just me step back and watch, looking, and just getting a vibe, even just feeling a vibe, and I would have known just as quick as I did. Which was like instantly, I could feel it and knew it, but that's why I said I waited 2 hours, because I remember when I went, I said, this is the first time I'm going. I had people, because I mentioned it in my video way back then, I didn't even see you yet. I didn't even hardly know you. And I said, this guy said that I could come up. I'm going to go check him out. And I had some people message me, hey, let me know if you see any strange stuff or any this and that, and, watch that pastor guy, and let me know if you see anything that's weird. And I said, man, I will. I'm going to go there. I don't know the guy. I'm going to meet him. So my radar was up. I've heard about all these, religious compounds. The news told me about everyone that's out doing their own thing. They're a compound, religious compound. Oh, I'm fixing to go to one. What the hell is this about? Right? Mm-hmm. I felt it talking to you, seeing the videos you did. I already knew there's no way he's faking it. There's no way that I'm gonna go there and see some other crazy crap. You'd go see somewhere else. No way. Mm-hmm. I knew it, so I was willing to take my family, my kids, right over there without question. And hardly even knowing you, you said, well, we do have that little building up there that you can stay in if you want to save the fee instead of paying for a hotel tonight, because you're coming back here in the morning for a little while, aren't you? Yeah, of course. Man, and we're easy people. We don't need to live in the Taj Mahal. Thank you. We'll take that. And we stayed there. And while we were in that room, my wife and I are like, man, can you believe these people, man? Like, we need to, we need to live up here. We need to come up here. We need to, man, we got to talk to this guy. Man, this is... The whole night, man, we're just sitting there up in bed talking. Kids are sleeping on the floor in a little blow-up mattress. They even brought a blow-up mattress for our kids. We're like, yeah, man, this is all right. Well, let's just see how tomorrow goes, and we'll scope that out. So we come the next, we woke up. Y'all had church service Saturday. Went in there, and we were like, you know what, this is solid. There ain't nothing. I'm thinking all these people emailing me. Check the pastor, see if they're doing any, polygamy in there. Man, get the hell out of here. So. You live exactly how you say you live. Yeah. It's hard to find someone like that who doesn't put on a show in front of the camera or a little fake personality, fake whatever. But I can sit here and tell you that if people could just live like you, and that's the problem. You're outnumbered billions. Billions to one. Yeah. So how does a person function, or people or a family function, even when they realize and make that connection? I need to live like this guy. I'm now changing my life to live even in 20% of what this guy lives like. I'll be making a miraculous, recovery in my life. If I can live 20% like this guy, I'm going to do it. And then you start to realize, stop doing that. You got to stop doing that. Don't do this. Don't be a part of that. And then you step back and say, man, I can't do nothing. Everything out here is wrong. This whole society's wrong. I have to steal when the guy comes into my shop to buy something. I know what that piece of crap I paid for in China to sell to him. But I've got all these high bills and overhead, and I've got my nice salary, and I got my employee salary, and we have a right to live, for God's sake. So in that case, I got to charge the hell out of him. Even though next door he can get it 20% cheaper. I'm not going to tell him that. I want the business. That's where our whole society is. Yeah. Get what you can from the next guy, and then we get pissed off when someone screws us over a high plumbing bill or high something else. When I went out to that house in Tennessee that we're moving to, I was moving my car around the back side of the house so I could get up on the roof because I didn't have a ladder. And I heard a little crack, and I was like, uh-oh, it sounded like I ran over a little PVC pipe or something. I see water coming out of the ground. Great. So I shut the water off, and they've got these 4-inch pipes that go down about a foot so you can reach in and turn the valves off out to the field or whatever. Well, I ran over one and cracked it. I didn't realize it was there. So the neighbor guy, who's the brother of the lady I bought the house from, he's a plumber and electrician. So I went over there, knocked on the door, and he said, well, he'll be here in an hour. I was like, well, you mind if I borrow one of his shovels? No problem. So I took the shovel, started digging the hole, found the crack pipe, and I was waiting on him to come over because he had all the PVC and stuff. So he comes over. This guy's probably in his 60s, brings his wife. His wife's his little helper. And he fixes it, real nice people, and just give me 15 or 16 bucks for the parts. Spent like 45 minutes fixing it. I said, wow, I can't give you $15 or $16. That's ridiculous. I gotta give you like at least $40 or something. No, just give me the parts, or don't even worry about it. To be honest with you, you're moving in next door. I said, no way. I said, I do have a $100 bill though. Can you have change? He said, no, I don't. I said, well, I'll go to town, because I got to go in anyways, and I'll give it to you. But I go out to the country, and here's the thing. You go out in these rural areas, just like where you live, where there's not that, people are acres and acres and acres away. You're on a different planet. Now, you guys are in a different galaxy. A very good one compared to everything else. But the people in the country are still pretty decent people, I've come to find out, and will give you the shirt off their back. Not hardly even onion, like this guy did. And I'm thinking, that's the kind of area, that's the surroundings, at the very least, I want my kids to be a part of and growing up at. Seeing that kind of personality in people, that kind of helpfulness. You go into the city immediately. Get out of my way, flipping you off, cutting you off, again, price gouging, you name it. Get out of my way, I was here first. You see the stupid Black Friday things, people fighting over garbage. You're fighting over garbage from China. That's the same damn place that are taking all your jobs while you want to complain and cry and go stand in the unemployment office and do nothing. Well, they're taking our jobs. Yeah, they are. But you sure as hell ain't helping by going and buying the garbage. But, again, in all fairness, go to the shelf of any damn store and tell me if you can even find something made in America. You're going to spend most of your time there trying to find it, if you can even find it. And if you do, you're going to say, how much do they want for that? Man, I can't afford that. It's because it's American-made. And the Americans just subcontracted out over to China for pennies on the dollar. I read a story today, speaking of that real quick, of a guy that writes, was a computer programmer for one of these major companies. It was either Apple or, I don't know, somebody big. I can't remember. And he decided, because he wants to spend more time talking and chatting on Facebook than working, had a brilliant idea. I'm going to subcontract my job to someone in China, pay them pennies on the dollar to do my programming work that I get paid big bucks for, pay them pennies for it. They'll give it to me. I'll look over the code. Looks good. Turn it in as if I did it. And the guy's been doing this for a good amount of time, apparently, so he can sit at his desk and just screw around on Facebook all day. So if we have this, these are the kind of, again, moralist society. These are the kind of people, who are allegedly supposed to get up and want to go work. I got to go support my family. And they just have this attitude of just, I don't have time for that. I want to just screw off. I want to go play around. I want to get on Facebook and mess around. My boss, on the other hand, is going up there, taking the bull by the horn, starting a restaurant in this filthy, nasty economy, and going with it and saying, Joe, you want to way up to Tennessee? You want to come up and work for me? This is your shot. I told him, I said, you already know my answer. I've been wanting to go there since 2008. He said, yeah, I know. I figured you'd say that. We're not standing in the unemployment line. We're not going to stand by and say, well, I hope things get better, or let me go, do whatever and turn my face over here so I don't have to see reality and just pretend. And if it doesn't, I'll just go get unemployment, or I'll just go get some food stamps until things get better. You have to have that working and that attitude where you want to accomplish something. If there's no accomplishment when you do something and you go to work, if you feel like you're not really accomplishing anything, it's just too easy, it's too nonsense, you really don't feel proud enough, and you don't feel like you earned your keep or you earned what you made that day. And people are apparently getting used to not having to feel that, don't want to feel that. I just want to sit on my butt all day and make money. And then contract it out to a guy in China to give it back to me. I'll pay him a few pennies, whatever, a few dollars, and then turn it in as if I did it. I mean, we're like father, like son, like mother, like daughter, like government, like peasant, like sheeple. Because the government does it, they got rid of all of our jobs, let the big corporations subcontract everything out overseas. Now we got our own guys doing it. Everybody that I know that does lawn care, landscaping, has illegal. In my area, it's all Mexicans that are illegal, but illegal aliens doing work under the table. They'll sit in certain parking lots waiting for cars to drive by, trucks, hey, come get me, I'll work for you. So even our own guys who again, supposed to be American, damn these people working, taking our jobs. And then they say, well, damn, how much are you willing to work for? Below minimum wage? Under the table? Man, I can get more money. I can keep more money in my pocket. Why the hell do I want to hire another American that needs the job that I'm going to have to pay $8, workman's comp, and forget that. I'm going with it. They're doing the same thing.
Right.
So there's no way that this whole thing we call society can possibly end well. There's going to be major pain and suffering in probably all aspects of our lives.
Yeah.
Before it does get better. And when it does get better, will be because what's left, the people trying to survive whatever happened, are going to be those strong people, those ones who want to work, who want to see results, who are willing to go out there and do the job.
Yeah.
All the lazy bastards, if they think they're going to come into some community like yours or anywhere in some kind of crisis situation and sit on their rear end, well, I made $200,000 a year. I was a vice president of such and such corporation in Nashville. Oh, man, come on in. Come on in. Just sit down. I made straitway for you guys. I'm glad. Sure, please take my house. Take Pastor Dowell's house. We're glad you showed up. Those people will be done away with so quick. They'll be the first ones to fail. So all this talk of doom and gloom and destruction and earthquakes and all this crap, man, bring it on. There needs to be a cleansing to get rid of this filthy society we're a part of and start over. And I don't care what kind of suffering excuse me, I or my family have to go through to get to that point, because this crap can't continue. And like everything that's a cycle, whether it's a plant growing and dying and wilting, sun coming up and down, whatever it is, there's always a peak. There's always a climax. And this society has to climax out sometime, and from the looks of it, it can't be too much longer.
You're telling the truth, brother. Hey, to finish up on this video right here, when you came here, Joe, and matter of fact, the children saw you before I did.
Yes.
What is your judgment and assessment of our children when you met them?
They're not children. They're not any children I've ever seen. I picture and see them in their long dresses and the clothing that they were wearing, which by the way, for average person, you may see that, oh, everyone's wearing long clothes. Oh, man, it's one of those, oh, no. You get that first little instinct. But I got to tell you, who gives a crap whether they wear long dresses and pants and no shorts and all? It doesn't matter. These kids and the people there, it didn't bother them. They didn't care. It's the way they live. So at first, we were kind of like, we felt like the outcasts because we were not dressed like them, and we felt a little embarrassed for ourselves, but we didn't know. And I've learned that now, but, and he didn't get on my case or anything either. He didn't say, oh, you can't come on the property, he didn't do none of that, but he told me how they run things and how they do things. Now that we're aware of that, we will be respecting that for sure. But I still see those kids just walking and having a good old time. That little, I don't remember their names, little boy and a little girl. They looked like around there the same age, I think, but, again, this was 2011, but just walking down and came and said hi, and we were talking. They took our kids and held our little kids' hands and took them down to the creek and took them to the play area. And I didn't even, like I said, to just drop your kids off and not look as a parent, not see what's going on, you shouldn't be doing that. You should be looking at, hey, I'm in a new place, my kids, I need to see what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
I can tell you, I know this, and I knew it then. I wouldn't dare do that anywhere else. But as I said, the feeling that I got, the vibe that was there immediately, which I already had before I even got to you, based off of talking to you and listening to videos, I already knew. But once I felt it was standing there, I never even once said, well, Evelyn, why don't you go with him? Or take him.
Yeah.
Take him wherever you want to take him. I'll be sitting in this house where I can't see anything, because I already could tell and knew the type of people, the children, everything. Is like I said, I can't even describe what they are. These are no children that I've ever seen. I've never been anywhere in my life and witnessed. And I've been to the church. I've been to my sister's Mormon church and been there. And as soon as they're up there at the podium, the kids are screaming and yelling and fussing, and they got to take them out, bring them back in. It's like, what is this? People up there, it was just chaos. And I'm like, that's like too much. I understand little kids usually at church, they'll take them into like a little room or do something with them, but I'm talking the older kids, not the little small ones, all ages. It was just crazy. And then after the church, and you're seeing the kids and seeing how people behave, it's almost a front. It's just people putting on a front. Oh, we're at, like I do, we're at church. Okay, we're out of church. We're out of church now. All right, back to society, bozo land. I can't even. That's what I can't even describe the kids. I don't even know. I don't have words other than kind and just peaceful and very calm and not crazy and not using any kind of words that, like, even my kids would be using in a conversation, like, just maybe based off of cartoons or being around people. And just, I don't know how to describe it. Not that my kids go around cussing. We don't do that. But just if you sat my own children down next to those kids, I'd be red-faced and embarrassed. Even though anyone else probably looking at my kids, man, your kids are good kids. What's wrong with that? Well, nothing, but compared to those kids, they live around the society, the friends, the school that they went to start with, everything. They were a part of it. There's no way to not be a part of it unless you get the hell out of it. And that is the key why we are getting up and going to Tennessee. Have to go out there, have to get out in the rural area and live with people that at least minimum the rural people, because they seem to have it down a lot better than the city folks.
Yeah,
but my God, if there was a straightway part 2 over there in my neighborhood, hey, even better. But there's not. But you're 3 hours away. We're going to be coming up seeing you guys quite a bit. So that's all I can tell you. I mean, I could ramble on about it. I hardly have words for those kids. Can't even really give you a description. Just fantastic. That's it.
I'm glad that you and your wife have made the decision to homeschool, brother, because that lets me know personally, brother, that you really truly care about your children. At least that's what it communicates to me. So I really do appreciate hearing it, and all the things they're going to enjoy watching this video segment right here.
Yeah, I appreciate talking to you. I mean, I can't believe we've been talking a full hour right now, basically, but a lot to talk about. This story is just sickening.
Yeah.
And I mean, thank the Lord that I am moving in 2 weeks. That's all I can say. I'm gone in 2 weeks. I am away from this. People, oh, you're gonna be sad. You're gonna be, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna miss you. Yeah, I'm gonna miss this society. Yeah. Look at me. I'm crying. I'm crying as much as Obama did when he pretended to cry about the school shooting. Look.
Yeah.
Nothing there. Just fake nonsense. So, anyways, I appreciate talking to you. We'll do some more videos in the future, obviously, and once I get up there, we're going to do some side-by-side, double teaming the people. Jsnip4, Master Dowell. So,
thank you for having me.
Take care.